So I decided I want to do like a little bit of a talking type of live stream. I was gonna cook, but I decided not to just because I'm letting my wrists kind of rest a bit. And I just wanted to talk, do a little bit of a chatty live stream. So I want to tell you a story about why you should be careful when you're walking. And I always realize I think that I'm careful, but I'm not careful enough. I'm having some Beyond Meat sausage. I have some hummus. It's organic henna hummus. And then just some lettuce, romaine lettuce. And that's what I'm going to eat. So anyway, I want to talk about why you should be safe. Because I always think, oh, I'm pretty good. Like, I've walked all my life. I walk for transportation. I feel like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm good with walking and I'm not going to fall. Oh, that's a mistake. So I've fallen a couple other times previously. In 2011, I did trip on the sidewalk in our city because they're a little uneven, and we've been talking about this. Like, we have a lot of trees, but like they're growing up, and there's like these cracks, and some of the sidewalks are old, and they're like uneven where they protrude underneath roofs, or they're just uneven, and when they maintain them, they're not like all flush. So this is what happened. Like back in 2011, I did trip one time and I fell, but that one wasn't quite as bad. And then in 2015, I actually also fell off my bike where my shoelace got wound around the bike pedal and I fell off into the street. Kind of similar situation. Well, not last night, but Tuesday night, I fell really hard, very hard. And I always try not to fall. But anyway, it's pretty bad. I don't want to be graphic, but like I have a Band-Aid on my knee right here. I have like this right here is kind of bruised. It's bruised here. This leg's bruised because I fell. So this is what happened, and this is why you need to be careful when you're walking down the sidewalk. I was just thinking about like various things. Like I was caught up in my thoughts. You should always clear your head when you're walking. And I know it's dark, and some people are like, but you need a flashlight. My eyes usually adjust in the dark. This wasn't the issue. It wasn't even like total dark. It was 6:10 at night. So I was just preoccupied with my thoughts. And I was walking down the street and I didn't look. There was this one part of the sidewalk that was higher than the other. I tripped over the sidewalk and yeah. So I fell and I was afraid I might have broken a bone. Somebody stopped and asked me if I was okay. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I just felt like, oh my gosh, this is my own fault. I should have been paying attention. So you always need to be safe when you're walking down the sidewalk. And don't be engrossed in things. Like I know people are always on their phone, like they're texting, they're looking at their phone. I think when you're walking, like I'm just going to be honest with you, like put it down or just stop. I know we live in a culture that loves to multitask, and also I wasn't even on my phone, but just being kind of overwhelmed or like having thoughts in your mind and letting your mind kind of run. I don't think that's good because I know that's why I tripped, because I wasn't as aware of that part of the sidewalk where it's like 1/4 of an inch higher than the other part because there's like this tree growing underneath the tree root. It kind of pushes it up. So I tripped over that, fell, and then yeah. So my wrist is feeling a little bit better, but it hasn't been perfect. It has not been perfect. It kind of hurt here and here. And I just had to kind of do lots of different motions to try and make it feel better. I'm feeling a little bit better like today, but the bruising like on this leg, it's pretty severe. It's worse on this one. Like, and falling like that, I'm just lucky that I didn't break a bone or something. And I feel like you really want to be aware of your surroundings. I cannot emphasize that enough. Just always be aware of your surroundings. Don't get caught up like in doing things. Like I feel like sometimes we become kind of just like we become robots. We go through our day, our activities, our tasks, and I've heard people sometimes say before, "Oh my gosh, I drove home," And it was such a habit that I didn't even realize which direction I drove. So yeah, just be very cognizant of what you're doing. Well, I did want to cook, but I want to take a break and not hurt my wrist. That's why I decided not to cook tonight. So, I mean, I could chop, but I don't really want to chop things up right now. So, yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on walking. Just be aware of your surroundings. Like, look up, look around, look down, like, scan, just like you would with driving. Like, I think sometimes I have this false sense of security. Like, I'm walking, I'm okay. And I think I just got so preoccupied with thinking about, like, something that wasn't even important, really. It was just something random. And then I fell. So you just have to be very preoccupied. So I guess the next topic I want to talk about is just having like a talking format live stream where I just talk about topics that I really enjoy. Hi, Casey. How are you doing? I'm doing better. Yes, I am doing so much better. So the reason I want to do like a talking live stream or a cooking one or a painting one is because for the longest time, I love doing live streams with other people, but I felt like I just wanted to have like a fun conversational live stream on a Friday night that I could kind of pick the topic. And I felt like for a long time I couldn't do that when I was live streaming with other people, you know? So be very careful when you're walking. So that's kind of the whole idea about doing my own like little live stream. I always do my own live streams, but I've been wanting to like just for a while do like a fun conversational Friday night live stream. And I think I might be doing that more. Like it won't be every Friday night. I wanted to make this a cooking one, but I decided not to cook tonight. So I'm eating. So what's your favorite kind of food? Does anybody have a favorite kind of food that they want to share with us? I like hummus. And I actually like these Beyond sausages. They're pretty good. Like this might look boring to some people, but this is, I think it's pretty good. And this hummus brand, like even though I do like to make hummus myself, it's a pretty good brand of hummus because it's organic hummus. And yeah, the ingredients aren't bad. I do like it a lot. So instead of eating it with pita bread, I just eat it with leaves. It's really good. Mm-hmm. So I think I talked about two that I had listened to Spare. So what were my thoughts about it? It was very, I don't even feel like I'm a royal watcher, but it went into a lot of detail. And I think basically by the end of the book, what I get is that Harry just wanted to leave the royal family, but he still wants his titles. It's a little confusing. That was interesting. So I actually need to start a new book. That's my whole thing. I had listened to that. Finished a few days ago. Maybe a week, really. I started reading another book. It just did not resonate with me. It was an interesting concept. It was called The White Mosque. And I thought, oh, this might be an interesting book. So it was so strange. It was like a very peculiar topic. It was about these Mennonites who lived in Russia. And then they decided to go on like some sort of a religious quest to immigrate to Uzbekistan. And since Uzbekistan has a mostly Islamic population, when the Mennonites built a white church there, it got misnamed like a white mosque. But the thing that was so strange about this book that I just couldn't get on board with was the people. Like usually I can respect like many different, like I get it. People have different religions and different cultures. But the thing about this group of offshoot Mennonites that just kind of bothered me a bit was that they were traveling through the desert and a lot of children were dying because they didn't have enough water and because of all the sandstorms. And somehow the leaders in this group were justifying, like saying it had some sort of religious justification because they thought the second coming of Christ was going to happen if they immigrated to this valley. And I just stopped reading the book because I'm like, even if you're a Mennonite and you're interested in Mennonite history or you're a descendant of a Mennonite, I just can't get on board with a story like that. I don't think what we should, I understand documenting it, but sometimes I just have to stop reading a book. Like anytime that there's a story where people willfully put children, like innocent people, in a situation where they're in jeopardy and peril, I can't get on board with that, because you're supposed to protect children. You're supposed to want to do better for them, not sacrifice them. I mean, to me, and I don't know how the parents could do that. Like, I get that people are religious and whatnot, but how could you? Okay, this is the thing. Most Mennonites didn't agree to go on this journey. It was like one small group of Mennonites, and they all decided to go through the desert knowing that it was sandy and how dangerous I just couldn't keep reading that book. I had to quit. And I used to feel like you shouldn't quit books. When I was younger, I used to think quitting a book is bad. Like, you should never quit a book. You should always give a book like a fair shake and whatnot. But anyhow, yeah, I just stopped reading that book. I might try to find another book soon to read. On the other front, I have filmed some videos recently that I want to edit on this channel and upload. Like, I had a couple more shopping haul videos. I thought those were kind of fun. I organized my paints a little bit last night. It was kind of late. I really like the little heater that I purchased recently. It's so cute. I'm just going to eat for a little bit and think about, okay, so has anybody seen the movie The Handmaid's Tale? I've seen the movie. I haven't read the Margaret Atwood book, but I guess a lot of people watch the series, but I just don't think that I'm going to watch it, because I'm just like, it's so, yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the mood to watch that, but some people might like it. You don't have to retract your message, Casey. It's okay. I don't know if I'm going to like watch that, you know? I don't know. It's just people keep mentioning it. I just don't really feel like there's any shows I want to see per se right now, except I wanted to see something kind of silly, like the 90s show. They're doing a reboot of the 70s show. I kind of thought about wanting to watch that. Maybe. But then again, I don't think I'm going to get a Netflix subscription just to watch it. I let my Netflix subscription actually go because I just like watching YouTube. I probably should watch it then, because I did like the 70s show. I love the 70s show. Yeah, it was hilarious. Who was your favorite character? I liked Eric. I know Eric always kind of got, I think I liked Jackie too. And I respected Donna. Like, she felt like she was older than her age. Like, she was more together than the other characters. Kelso was just Kelso. But yeah, maybe I'll watch it. It was kind of fun. But the thing I kind of liked about the 90s show is I like how they're using a lot of 90s references. Like, does anybody remember going to Sbarro's pizza place? Oh my gosh, like in the 90s, that was the it thing. And their iced tea. Like, I don't eat pizza really anymore, but their iced tea, like, that was the thing I remember. Yeah, she was really young. Well, supposedly she said she was 18 at the audition, but then they had to get her a tutor, so they figured out, she's like under 18. And the reason they like people to be over 18 is so they don't have to you know, take time off set for filming. I think the same was true with Twilight, which, by the way, I read that series. It was a little weird, but yeah, that was another reason. I think Kristen Stewart, she wasn't 18 when they first started filming, and then they got excited when she turned 18. Yeah, he was a little out there. He wasn't my favorite character. Like I said, for some reason, I liked Eric and I liked Donna and I liked Jackie. She was funny. I just think Jackie kind of was funny the way she bantered back and forth with Kelso, you know? That's what I liked about the show. So, yeah. I really do want to encourage people to be more careful, though. I know that's kind of silly, like, and I know they're always saying, "Oh, like, be careful, be safe," but we do live in a very multitasking society, so just put your phone away. Like, I've been thinking about this more lately. I don't think you need to walk and text. There's nothing you need to walk and text to somebody. There's no message that's that important that you need to be walking and texting. Like, you can stop what you're doing to text somebody. I think that could be really dangerous. I could see people tripping or making mistakes, and it just doesn't seem like you're aware of your surroundings if you're always like looking down or just. I'm just saying, be careful. Because after my experience, like I wasn't even texting, but my mind was elsewhere and I tripped. So, yeah, just anything. Just be safe, whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, I used to love Seinfeld. Seinfeld was fun back in the day. Did you ever see? I also used to love Curb Your Enthusiasm because Larry David was one of the writers on Seinfeld, and that was pretty good. Like, there was a hilarious. Well, I don't look. Larry David did some very kind of things that aren't good. They're like not considered politically correct, but he wanted to get out of jury duty and he said something really really bad to get out of it, so he wouldn't be on it. And then they were helping, I don't know which character it was. Yeah, Larry David is funny, but some of the things he said were inappropriate sometimes. So they were gonna try and get some medical marijuana for, I think, his dad. Yeah, I think it was for his dad, maybe. Yeah, I thought so. And this was back like in 2005 or something, before it was legal in California. And then they went and they found a dealer, and he ended up getting caught, and he went to the same judge where he had tried to get out of jury duty. Like, these weird things would always happen to Larry David. And I'm just like, and then there was one episode where like he was really upset that he was finding like a cup ring on different tables. And then I guess at the end he realized Cheryl was the one who wasn't using a coaster. It was always really ridiculous stuff with Larry. Well, it's a good show. Yeah, I have not watched a lot of shows lately, as you can see. So, but yeah, I did really like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love Seinfeld. The final episode of Seinfeld, though, I felt like it was so dark. The thing I didn't like about the final episode is, why did they have to decide that? Like, I wouldn't want to think that Elaine and Jerry and George would just watch somebody be attacked. Like, I didn't like how they ended the series. Like, that kind of bothered me. I'm like, I really hated how they ended it, but I guess a lot of people really loved yeah, I know, like some of the stuff is so not politically correct on Curb Your Enthusiasm. And it probably couldn't be, I don't know, can that be made nowadays? I don't know. Like, I don't really know what the rules are nowadays for comedy and whatnot, because I don't watch as many shows. I'm sure you could, but I feel like it wouldn't fly. Like, a lot of the things that happened in that series. Like, here's another example. Like, there were these two girls that came to his house. I guess they were about 13 and they were wearing sweaters, and they said trick or treat. And he's like, "You're not wearing costumes. You don't get candy." He goes, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yes, we are. We're teachers." And he goes, you have to wear a costume. And they insisted that that they were in costume and then he refused to give them candy, and the next day they toilet papered his house. That was pretty funny. So yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it, so I'm a little not super detailed on every episode. Hi, Cable. I'm just eating some food because I didn't really feel like cooking tonight. So I wanted to do a cooking live stream, but I just don't think I'm in the mood for that right now. Yeah, it kind of makes me want to watch it again. The reason I just don't watch a lot of shows anymore, though, is because I have YouTube, so I watch a lot of YouTube videos, like just how-tos and things like that. But I don't really watch movies anymore as much. Because I haven't had cable for some time, so I just don't watch a lot of shows as much anymore. Mm-hmm. But I would watch them again someday. This is actually a pretty healthy mukbang. I didn't call this one mukbang, but it's kind of like that because it's just like lettuce and hummus and Beyond Meat sausage. So I might even have an orange after this. I think we'll see. So if you're trying to like not eat a lot of bread, I highly recommend lettuce leaves with hummus. It's good. I don't miss pita bread at all. Oh yes, Mad About You. That one's pretty funny too. I also used to watch Frasier, and I haven't seen. Oh, my roommate in college, she loved Frasier. In fact, I think she put something about Frasier's apartment on her voicemail. And one time somebody was trying to call me, and we had switched bedrooms. So we had to switch phone numbers. I guess the phone company said that was the easiest way to do it. So this girl was trying to call me, and I guess she didn't have my new phone number. So she called my old phone number thinking it was me. And I remember my roommate loved Frasier, and she goes, "Welcome to Frasier's apartment." And then the next time I saw that girl, she goes, "I tried to call you, like to tell you something that my other friend had stopped by where we used to work in college to say that she was going to be late because we were going out to dinner." She goes, "But when I called you, I got this message about Frasier's apartment." And I said, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, my roommate loves Frasier." So it was a pretty funny show. And I do remember Mad About You. That was pretty funny as well. I couldn't tell you specific episodes or anything. I just remember it was funny. And I remember Niles. It's just, yeah, they were funny shows, but it's been a long time since I've watched either of those. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just like because pita bread's good, but I think lettuce leaves are healthier. Just my thought, because you're not eating as many calories, because there's not really that many calories in a like thing of romaine, right? How many calories could there be? And then you have the hummus that'll fill you up with the fiber and the protein and a little bit of fat. And then like the Beyond Meat sausage, which I just microwave them. I know some people fry them, but I think the thing I like about microwaving them is this. It's almost like they make their own little sauce, so it's kind of cool. And then if you have like a lettuce leaf, you can dip it in the sauce that's left over, and it's kind of tasty. I try to eat healthy, but this is also what I had in my fridge, so I guess that's what I'm going to talk about next. Because this is just kind of a stream of consciousness live stream. So if you remember, I don't know, or if you look at TikTok, a lot of people have been saying, well, how come people, like all the influencers, have like a fridge full of so much food and I can't afford to buy that much food? This is a very pertinent discussion, actually, because a lot of people, I don't know if you live in Southern California or not, but if you do, a lot of people have just got their gas bill, and it can range anywhere from $380 to almost $500. And this is for people, okay, that were barely turning on their heater. Like my mom, she never turns her heater on because she was trying to save money on the gas bill, okay? And I think she was baking like once a day, but her gas bill used to be like maybe $100 a month. And it went all the way up to 380, and they took like maybe something off because they said, oh, we'll cut it by a little bit. And that's for somebody that doesn't really use their heater at all. Like if they have like a gas furnace. There's other people that probably run it a lot, and their gas bills, I mean, I just don't know how they think people are going to afford this. Like, how are people going to be able to afford their utilities? And I know they had like all these explanations like, oh, we had to send gas overseas with things going on and this and that. Like they had all these explanations for it, but none of it really cuts it, in my opinion. The inflation is really bad. So the gas bills went up by like several hundred percentage points. They had to have. Like a lot of people I know, like it went from maybe having $100 gas bill up to almost 500, and they didn't do anything different. Okay, and these are people that are not running their, like they refuse to like even turn on their heater. And I know people are like, but California is hot all the time, except like even last night, like okay, you guys will probably laugh like if you live in a cold part of like the US. But last night it got down to like 35 degrees, even here where I live in the Inland Valley. But up in the San Bernardino Mountains, it gets down to maybe 20, 15 degrees. It doesn't drop below zero. Like I think the only time, it's been a long time since I saw it zero up there. It doesn't drop that low, but there are days on winter days when sometimes they can get down into the 20s. And I know if you live somewhere like in the Arctic, that probably is like, oh, that's hot. Like, what are you complaining about? But it's still cold. Like anything below 50 degrees is going to feel cold. So like people are intentionally, they're not running their heater. Okay. So like, but yet they still got a big gas bill. And then it just reminded me of this little video that I saw on TikTok last night about how somebody said, why do influencers always like act like everybody has like a lot of money to buy all the groceries they want? And I mean, some people can barely afford food right now. So this is what's going to happen with the gas bill. Like some people are going to have to make a decision. Do I pay my gas bill or do I buy groceries? Like that's going to be the choice for some families this month. And I'm telling you, that's going to happen. That's going to start happening. And if that's happening in the most populous state in the US, inflation's bad. And I'm sorry, there's not anything being addressed about it. So what was the point of raising like wages if inflation's just going to go that high? I mean, I think people do need to make a living wage, but why? We know that the corporations are fixing that, okay? They're just making pure profits. So every time they tell us that they have to raise the prices because of supply chain and because of this and this and this, that's not true. I'm not advocating for communism because I'm not a communist. I'm not advocating for socialism. I'm just talking about being honest. And they're not being honest with us if they're saying that they have to raise the prices and they blame it on the supply chain every time. That's not completely honest because all of the corporations are making huge profits right now. They're making huge profits. And are they going to suffer from like the gas bills going up? No, they're not. Or from inflation? No, they're not. They're going to make money off this. And some of the supermarkets, like they will raise like everything $1 by $1, everything. So, I mean, these are just things that people deal with, like people that, and these are not poor people. These are middle class Americans. Like these are people that are middle class Americans that are dealing with this. Okay. Yes, they raise the prices much higher than necessary. I totally think, and I think it's because they know there's a profit to be made in it right now. There's a profit for everything, right? So, I mean, we just have to be honest about that. Like everything to some degree, all these prices going up is because they know, well, they're going to make a little bit more money. So, and I know we can't change that, but this is the truth. Like what I was hearing with this video on TikTok, somebody said, how can some of these influencers afford to like have a fully stocked fridge and buy all these luxury groceries? And how I guess some people feel bad about that, but you shouldn't feel bad about it. It just, look, just because you see somebody do something on the internet, that doesn't mean everybody else can. Yeah, Chevron does. Yeah, I agree with you on Chevron. They've raised their prices. BP, all of them do it. And then even like the natural gas, like for your stove and for your furnace, like Southern California Edison. Look, I don't really believe everything that they say, like, oh, we have to raise the prices that much. Maybe it's because there's a little bit of profit in it too. Like, let's just be honest here. Like, it's not like, oh, like they're not doing it out of the kindness of their own hearts, you know? So this one lady on TikTok had a good point. Like, people shouldn't compare themselves to influencers who have like all these like gourmet groceries and who can shop at Erewhon. That's not realistic. And who wants to shop at Erewhon anyway? That sounds ridiculous. Have you heard about Erewhon? Like they charge, I guess, $20 for a little thing of strawberries. It's an upscale market. It's nothing special. Like you could go to Stater Brothers in Southern California and pay a lot less or food for less. Who shops at Erewhon? Go to Trader Joe's. Like I can't imagine. Like why would you even go there just because you saw an influencer go to Erewhon? Like it doesn't even make any sense to me. But I guess some people they feel bad about themselves. Like when they see influencers have like a fully stocked fridge and they can barely pay their gas bill, but you should just do what you can. Like I believe in eating healthy, but I don't think you should compare yourself to people that are spending $20 on a tiny little thing of strawberries. Like there's always going to be differences in economics. That's reality. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh my gosh, everybody has to have the same income. That's not realistic. But what is realistic is to hold corporations accountable and say, hey, I think you guys are kind of playing with the situation because there's a profit to be made. I do think that is something we can say. We can be honest there, right? In my opinion on that. So just cook like what you can afford, but try to eat healthy. But try not to compare yourself to other people. Like, I love to wear bright colors, and some people are like, oh my God, is it your birthday? Is that why you're dressed like this today? I'm like, no. I just like to wear red, and I wear what makes me happy. Like, I notice, like, a lot of people, like, look, I wear gray sometimes, and I wear black sometimes, but some days I just feel like wearing a bright color. But I didn't know that we live in such a world where people think you can only wear bright colors on your birthday or on a special occasion. I don't do that. I wear what I want. Like, I feel, honestly, this is another opinion I have. Americans dress a little too casual. Like, have you ever noticed, like, when you go to other countries, people, they kind of take pride in dressing up more. Like, it's kind of a thing. And, like, I get it. Like, I understand if you want to be comfortable and you want to wear sweats and that's your thing, you should just dress casual. Like, that's fine. But this is the thing I always get kind of annoyed by is I never tell anybody that they have to dress up. But did you know, like, there's this thing called casual shaming? Like, I know it sounds weird, but people in California, like, they kind of will get down on you if they think you dress up more than they did. Like, why do they care? How does it hurt them? Dress how you want. Like, clothes are for you. It's not for other people. It's to make yourself happy. It's a form of self-expression. I'm just saying. But anyhow, yeah. But I don't even feel it's that dire of an issue. Just do what makes you happy at the end of the day. Do what makes you happy. That's why I don't aspire to be like influencers, okay? Everybody's always talking about the people that have like 1 million subscribers. What are they doing? What are they doing? Oh my gosh, look at what they're doing. But why are we always comparing ourselves? Like, if you like what they're doing, I'm not saying don't ever, like, I like a lot of people that have like 1 million subscribers. A lot of them have really cool content. So, yeah, like if you like their channels, watch it. But I just don't aspire to look like them or do what they do. Yes, you can save money. And you can start a side business, side hustle. I don't know. You can be a reseller. But then that's also what I'm going to get into right now. Another topic that's kind of come up on TikTok. I guess people get shamed for reselling. But why? If people go, like, I like to go to Burlington because they have good deals. Well, they're raising their prices there too a little bit. But I guess, like, the reseller community gets a lot of shade because they go to places like Burlington and Ross, which, by the way, if you live near one, you can go there too. And you can buy things that there's like, this is why I don't think Poshmark is what people think, like Poshmark and Macari are these really good deals. But I can tell you something. A lot of the things that they're selling on there, they bought like at Burlington or something for like a third of the price. They're making a pure profit. But I don't hate them because, hey, if they want to do it, if they want to go on those sites and list all that, that's work and that's hard work and that's honest work and they can do it. And there's some people that don't want to go look around Burlington because, Burlington and Ross and all those places are like hit and miss, but you have to kind of like the hunt. Like if you enjoy the hunt, like I used to do it by myself and then I found out, oh, my sister likes to go too. So you could walk the whole store and sometimes there's just nothing really good there. But sometimes you, yeah, no, you get good deals because the reason I found a lot of really cute things like this dress right here. Actually, I got it Ross for like, I think $17 back in May. And similar dresses like this would cost a lot. They have some really good deals, But we also have some cute, like home decor and paint. Those paints that I use for some of my live streams. I bought some of those at Burlington, like some of those acrylic paints I found in like a really large paint set. Like they have like a combination of a lot of really strange things. Sometimes things are broken there and I wouldn't buy that. But sometimes you find like hit or miss, like these little towels I got. Like, like I got a set of handtails for $1.99. These Betsy Johnson handtails. I got a pack of 3. And I think they were a little bit more. Thank you, Casey. I do appreciate that. So, yeah, you get some good deals. And that's part of why I like going to Burlington. But apparently people don't like resellers because they go to those places and they resell the stuff. And people are like, that's not ethical. They shouldn't do that. But look at this. If somebody wants to go out and try and make a living, it's fine and it is ethical. I don't agree with the people that say you can't have a side hustle. You shouldn't try to do that. You're taking it away from somebody else. But you know what? Anybody can go out there and try and do that too. Like, they're not taking anything from somebody else. They're the ones that want to do that. I don't want to be a reseller personally. I'm not interested in doing that, but I can't hate people who do it. So if they want to make some extra money on the side doing that, and maybe reselling is better than for them than having to do like Instacart or something, like, which by the way, you don't make a lot of money doing that. So I kind of like just doing videos on the side. And I used to sell some stuff on my little Zazzle shop. And that's what I do on the side, just as my little hobby thing, So yes, what else could we talk about? I might just eat a little bit more of my lettuce and think about something that comes to mind. Mostly, I'm just enjoying this hummus. It is so good with this romaine salad. That was so good. But I think I'm going to stop for a while because I feel pretty full on that one. I do want to eat one more little thing though. I have an orange. I'm going to have a lovely little orange. Well, you can eat whatever you want, Casey. Whatever you enjoy eating, I hope you enjoy it. My wrist is still a little sore though. I will say that. Like I always think, not always, I think today, like, oh, my wrist is getting better. And then like when I do things like writing like this, but like if I move something like this or like this, I'm pretty sure my wrist is not broken, but I think it's just spraying. I'm hoping. But it does make me a little concerned though sometimes. I'm just like, that's not good. I did like kind of worry myself the night after I fell. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I break my wrist? Because I looked up all these different things but I'm moving things and I have been lifting things to some degree. This feels a little sore. I don't think it's broken. I just hope it's not like, I don't want to say like I don't think it's fractured, but I got a little worried because I read something and watched a video where they said like it could just be a tiny bit of pain, but I'm assuming because I've been moving it so much, I don't think it's broken. I don't think I'd be able to move it as much as I have been if it were broken. I think I'm just really bruised. And I'm making a more concerted effort now to take my vitamins every day. And I took some ibuprofen. Like I never take ibuprofen, but because I was in pain the last few days, I have been taking ibuprofen. So yeah, those are things I'm kind of making an effort to do right now. Definitely. So yeah, I really did want to do a cooking live stream though with you guys. I thought that would have been a lot of fun to like make some potato dishes, and I was going to talk a little bit more about how yeah, I want to go buy some more vegetables, but why I'm kind of not like pushing myself to always buy more and more because sometimes I would find that I bought too much and things would go bad. So I just kind of want to use up the groceries I do have at the moment. I think it's good to do that. I do think it's good to have like some extras, but sometimes you could buy so much produce that some of it goes bad. And I always feel bad when some of it goes bad. So sometimes it's good to buy a little bit less. Like if it's not a family, I don't think you need that much produce. Like that was why I stopped that Thrive Market Box because I did a few videos where I did those Thrive Market Box openings and it seemed like a really good deal because it's organic produce. I think some of it was conventional, but it was like mostly organic. And you got this whole big box, but I would find that I couldn't eat all that produce before it went bad. And then a new box came every week. I was just too much. It was just, and then I was trying to cook to keep up with it. And then sometimes, like, yeah, I get it. It's misshapen, but I don't know. I would almost rather just go to like the grocery store and buy a piece of fruit or vegetable that looks better to me than I don't have anything against the misshapen one, but some of them were just really not very pleasant. And it kind of felt like, they're saying it's a good deal, but is it really that good of a deal? And then it came in this big box that, of course, you could recycle the box, but that's another thing, you have to deal with the box. So it was fun doing it a few times, but then I didn't continue it because of that. Oh, I love to critique movies. And okay, so this is another thing. I know I say I haven't been watching as many movies lately, but there are a few movies that I kind of want to rewatch and maybe like do a review about. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a movie review soon because I did used to really love movies and I really used to get into them. So it's not that I don't like movies anymore. I think I just kind of don't watch as many, but I still do watch movies and I've done some good critiques of movies. And I enjoyed the times Aya came on and she shared some movie review she did. This orange is so good. Okay, so I want you to see how juicy it is. It's an organic orange. I think they came off a local tree. Oh my gosh, it used to be better though. Like it's not that it's not good now, but it used to be better because there were just so many orange fields and more people used to bring us oranges and people still do, but they just cut down a lot of the orange fields recently to build all the warehouses because everybody wants to get packages delivered. I guess that's great, but it's one of the downsides. So this one is organic, yeah. So it was a homegrown organic orange that some people brought into us. It's so good. Like when I say that organic homegrown fruit tastes better than conventional, I do mean it. Like, yeah, I eat conventional fruit too sometimes, but of course, a lot of times. But organic just it does taste better. Like I know people are like, oh, it doesn't taste, but it does. It just does. It does taste better. There's just something about it. And I know some people are like, that's not true, but it just like the little apples off my mom's tree. It didn't really produce that many apples this year, so she didn't bring me like a big batch like usually. But when I used to get those big batches of them, when there's a big crop, they're little, but they're the most flavorful apple. They're not super sweet. They're a little bit more tart, but I love that. I really do. I just love that. I love a tart apple. It's so good. But this is a really good orange too. I thought about making a smoothie, but I decided not to. I thought I'll just eat my orange. There's a definite, it tastes better and the quality is better for sure. Because I feel like a lot of times you buy a conventional fruit and it almost just kind of tastes watery, like especially with tomatoes. That's always been a problem. Like a homegrown tomato just has such a robust flavor that store-bought ones, like even the organic store-bought ones, they're never quite the same as like a homegrown tomato. It's just a homegrown tomato just has a flavor that you just can't really capture. Like homegrown just always tastes really better. So what are the perks of living in California? So that's another thing I was going to talk about. Would you live in California with all the prices going up? I say maybe it's better in some ways. So my nephew moved to Alabama recently with his girlfriend, and he thought it was going to be great. He's like, oh, we're going to buy a house. We're going to, like, we're young. We can afford a house. But guess what he found out? Oh, the house is like the muddy pit. Like, remember that movie with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long, where the house is really a money, like it's literally a money pit, because the house just has all these different problems, like in the roof sinks. Like I think their house has some problems like that actually. The house they bought, the kitchen floor sank. And then he's tried to get different jobs there. And I know people say other things are different in other states, but this has been the problem. Like he tried to work, like I said, a grocery store, and it was just really disorganized, and he didn't know how to do the chicken machine, like the chicken fryer, and so he put the chicken in. Oh yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was funny. So he tried to put my nephew tried to put the chicken in this fryer, and I guess he did it the best he knew how, and he got in trouble because the lady that ran the grocery place is like, "This is the wrong way." He goes, "But you didn't show me." So now I guess he has a job at like someplace like Cracker Barrel, and they pay them $2 an hour. And then they're like, "Well, you can get tips, $2 an hour." Like I don't care what state you're in. That's bonkers, man. Like we have to have some common sense. There has to be common sense. You can't just pay anybody $2 an hour. Nobody can live on that, even in like southern states, even in the Midwest. Yeah, that's why he wants to come home. I'm like, oh my God, why did she? Yeah, why do you want to, like, who can survive on $2 an hour? Nobody can. And then I guess their rationale is, oh, you can get tips, and he's just not happy. So I guess like when people always say you should go to other states, like it's cheaper in other states, but they pay you a lot less in other states. You know, other states pay less. And also, too, what we're finding is like, yeah, I know like a lot of states you do have friendly people, but I guess that hasn't been his experience. He said, I was concerned about this, and this is nothing against. Yeah, you don't earn any money, like unless you're like a CEO of a company. But what CEO is going to go buy a house there? You're going to go buy a nice house anywhere. And then some guy told me once, like, because he just did Uber on the side, he goes, "Well, it doesn't matter what state you're in, because if you're in certain industries, like you'll just make a lot of money." And that's true. Yes, if you're an entrepreneur, yeah, it doesn't matter what state you live in. Like there's a high roller life in every state. This is true. But when you tell young people just move to another state where it's cheaper, like that will solve all your problems, it really doesn't, because you're going to make less money. Okay. And if you do try to get a job, it might not be that great. So I guess that's just been his experience. So I think we're making a mistake when we keep telling young people in California that they need to leave, go to another state, find something better, because there might not be something better. Maybe a lot of people want to live in California because this is the truth. We have a great weather. We have great weather. We have great natural scenery. And honestly, like I'm just so used to living in California. I don't really have a desire to go live in another state. Now, if money were no object, the only other state that I want to go live in is Hawaii, which is a more expensive state. I don't have a desire to go live in a cheaper state. Like there's many beautiful, cheaper states, and I'm not getting down on the other states, but I have lived in California all my life. I just love the Californian way of life. Like California is a thing. Like people live here and we stay here for a reason, and people want to come here because honestly, I think life's better here. I just do. The weather is so beautiful outside. There's just so many opportunities, and you don't like, there's nothing wrong like with being out in the middle of nowhere if you have the money to do that, or if you can find a way to fund that. But yeah, I don't think we can just tell young people, hey, if you move to another state, it's cheaper. You'll have a better life there. Maybe not. Maybe it would be harder for somebody that's from California. So that's really bad advice that they keep giving younger people, and it's not applicable. So I say, don't leave California just because people told you it might be easier, because a lot of people end up coming back. And that's what happens. Or they move to another state like Texas, and I think a lot of people in Texas are tired of Californians coming. Not that you have, like, if you want to move to whatever state you want, you can go where you want. I'm not telling you what state to go to. What state do you live in, Casey? I'm just so curious. Are you in California? I think you're mysterious. Like, or are you from Texas? Anyway. So, yeah, I just think this is my thoughts on this whole thing. Stay where you want, live where you want. You have opportunities wherever you want them, where it works for you. I personally think California is the best place to live for me. I'm not saying it's for everybody. There's a lot of people that would definitely not want to live in California. I know when I was a kid, I used to hate, like, and it just was kind of like dysfunctional, really, how cartoons and the media would always like kind of pick on California. And it just made you not really identify. Like, when you grow up in California and that's the messaging you get from people in other states. I'm not one of those Californians that think I'm better than anybody else, but there are some Californians who feel like that. And the reason it might be is because, like, there would be all this messaging, like when you're a kid, like cartoons, like He-Man, where there was an episode where California fell into the sea. Like, it would, and there'd always be this joke, like, California is the land of fruit and nuts. Well, I love fruit and nuts, whatever. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. So, like, just like all these little jabs, like, yeah, are you a Californian, Casey? You're not going to tell me, are you? So yeah, I just think live where you want to live. Live where you want to live. Be where you want to be. My opinion, Yeah, so to sum it all up, how do I feel about everything tonight? I just want everybody to be safe. Like, don't be crazy about how you do things. Like, be careful when you're walking. Be careful when you're driving. Just be careful doing everything. Live in the state you want to live in. Pursue the life you want to live. I don't think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. That's just been my observation. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a good night.